Okay, so the sacred secretion stuff goes back to the Essenes. Jesus knew this stuff. He kind of syncretized it all together, and the Essenes. So John the Baptist, I think, was an Essene, and he was baptizing people in the desert, calling people into the wilderness, which is what I seem to have been called to do now by my own John. Called me out of my tomb, Lazarus. So this is what I do. I'm trying to build up to this. I think in a way, my old avatar is dead. I'm becoming something new. Let me get into the zone. I'll try and share this. So maybe if we start with the tree of life. So in Revelation, like Genesis to the last section, last verses of the Bible, you start off with Eden and you end up with Eden restored. You have the first Adam and the second Adam, first Eve and the second Eve. And, Christ came down, divine into human, to show us how to get back and to kind of restore Eden, to kind of push the cherubim, the whirling flame sword aside and allow us to walk back in. We are the tree of life. We are trees of life. And I'm standing in my garden. This is my garden here, like my Garden of Eden, restored. And I'm the tree of life. And I think that's definitely how I see the soul antenna. It's like this astral body, or astral antenna, because it's invisible. And like my whole thing with the invisible church is that it's like the kingdom of heaven within managed to elucidate that. It's like this invisible thing that connects us all, connecting us to our divine essence. So I am the tree of life. We are. If you look in Revelation, it says, the tree of life stood on either side of the river. And this singular, plural. It's a tree of life on either side of the river. How does that happen? How can you have a tree on both sides of the river that flows out of Eden? So our good friend John of Patmos, when he wrote Revelation, he's basically a magi. He's a magi astrologer. And Revelation actually points to, there's this really cool video on YouTube that I saw in 2011 about the Mazzaroth, and it's this New Zealand guy, and he talks about the Star of Bethlehem. I like his theory. It really resonated. And talking about how the wise men found it, the Magi, how they followed that star, and the Messiah, the Lord of the Jews, the Lord of the Magi, the Lord of everyone. And they knew where he was going to be born because of the alignments in the stars. And so Revelation is also a repeat of this same alignment, which happened in 2011, funnily enough. And that's when I saw the video, and it's when you watch that video, he's in 2011 at that time, talking about it. And it's the same exact thing. Like the Venus is born, is like in the womb of the Virgin, Virgo, and she stands on the serpent, and it's a rare alignment thing that happens. And it was kind of like Revelation is the Ouroboros, the full circle, the second coming, the culmination, the completion, the fulfillment. So I'm standing facing east in Eden. I'm standing facing east. The sun is coming up, shining light into my head, through my eyes, because we were evolved. We're not reptiles anymore. Reptiles are really interesting because the sunlight would shine through their skull, and the pineal gland has photoreceptors in reptiles. They have this pineal gland that is activated by the sun. We, however, have our mind awakened by the sunlight. I'm staring directly at the sun right now. Don't do that, you'll burn your eyes. I'm staring at the sun, and it's shining into my retina, and the retina sends signals through the photoreceptor cells of the retina instead of our pineal gland. But It sends a signal to the suprachiasmatic nucleus of the thalamus, and that's how we make serotonin from tryptophan. If you eat enough turkey and other things, you have tryptophan, the amino acid, and you make serotonin. And at night time, when the sun goes down, if we're in sync with the circadian rhythm, we're not jet lagged in a single location, that serotonin you made when the sun shone on your eyes is turned into melatonin. And it's like this cycle. And then you go to sleep. Floods your body. Go to sleep, wake up. The caduceus, the karikion, kundalini, intertwining around the staff of Hermes, the sushumna. It's all seen, it's all biblical, it's all truth. Hermes Trismegistus, the thrice great Thoth Hermes Mercury. This knowledge has been passed down to us through generations. I want to do some of my own syncretizing and blending and share with you. So the tree of life stood on either side of the river that flows out of Eden restored. Breath is the spirit. The lungs are like one of the mirrors. The lungs are the tree of life because literally like spirit is breath, respiration, inspiration, the branches are the roots. And the nerves coming off the central nervous system, the peripheral nervous system, they will branch off into little twigs and leaves. Respiration at the tissue level, it's actually called oxidative phosphorylation respiration, interestingly. Recycling the oxygen and carbon dioxide, and then we breathe out. And the trees breathe in. And the trees breathe in our carbon dioxide and they breathe out oxygen for us. And so we're connected. We're ecologically connected to everything. But the tree of life on either side of the river flowing out of Eden, yes, they could be connected by some kind of like underground trunk or root system or fungal rhizome network, but the tree of life, I see it as two different trees standing next to the river, at least above ground, and the river flows out. The river is the River Jordan. The garden, the first one, Genesis, is our brain, is our mind. The Sistine Chapel, God is shaped like a brain. He points his finger down. Adam reaches up and their fingers touch. This is God. This is our connection to God in our soul, in our heart, but in our brain as a matter of perspective. So in our Garden of Eden, in Genesis, we have, likely related to the neuromelanin, it's got to have some purpose, right? The black stuff, the dark energy. It's going to create some kind of dark energy that becomes light, emerging from the shadows. I have a sneaky suspicion and a memory that the claustrum, Santa Claus, the sacred claustrum, it secretes, it produces fluid that we make that flows out of the tree of life, the River Jordan. The tree of life, the wings of the staff of Hermes, there are ventricles. There are left and right hemisphere ventricles. The choroid plexus lining the ventricles somehow is connected to the claustrum, adding secretions, these sacred secretions, the chemicals, the hormones, the neurochemicals, the neuropeptides. But at the moment it's just water flowing out into each ventricle, each tree of life on either side of the river. And this cerebrospinal fluid comes down into the third ventricle through a little channel, unites as one, above the midbrain, in between the land of milk and honey. The milk, the pituitary gland, which actually makes prolactin secretion of milk, and honey, which produces the gold. The pineal gland. Pineal gland also produces melatonin, potentially DMT, other things like pinealine, and many more hormone chemicals that we haven't understood or discovered. As it travels through that into the fourth ventricle. So the fourth ventricle, well, first of all, there's sensors in these cerebrospinal fluid kind of lake, ocean, where the tree of life secretes the cerebrospinal fluid and the milk and honey is added to it, but the honey is golden. The honey, the carbon, the oxygen, the hydrogen, the nitrogen carries electrons, and the hormones that are secreted into the cerebrospinal fluid, vortex fluid. It goes down these canals and into the fourth ventricle. The fourth ventricle goes into this triangular shape, into the cerebellum. There's that little brain underneath our cerebrum, which has two hemispheres. united, travels down. And then the cerebellum's kind of like a coordinator. It's also have halves of the cerebellum, upper and lower halves, which correspond to the upper and lower worlds, the heavens and the earth, or the underworld. The underworld is below the diaphragm, below the solar plexus, and the heavens are above the solar plexus, from the heart up. This salty, just manna from heaven, flowing in this salty fluid, it has an odor of fish. The old anatomists back in the Essene times, or before, the fish bread, so the 5 and 2, I can't remember which way around it is, but forgive me. But so the fish bread, the manna from heaven, it comes down as salty water from the tree of life into the river Jordan, which flows out of Eden restored, or at this point, the Garden of Eden in Genesis. It goes down the central canal of the spinal cord, down the 33 vertebrae. This is the claustrum, the Santa Claus, coming down the chimney. So this fluid, it comes down, and when it reaches the end of the River Jordan, it comes to the Dead Sea, the fused vertebra of the sacrum. The sacrum is this collection, this pool where it dwells. Obviously, this is a constantly circulating flow of fluid. It doesn't really pool, but it's a metaphor, it's an analogy. So it goes in the Dead Sea. When the moon aligns with your star sign, your sun sign, astrologically, this may be arbitrary, but it's still useful. When the moon is in your star sign, your sun sign, and my wife and I are 2.5 day period backs onto each other, because we're Aries and Pisces in the Babylonian astrological understanding of the zodiac, but we know there's 13 in the galactic zodiac, so which actually means that she's an Aquarius and I'm a Pisces, but never mind, let's just forget that. It's all arbitrary and meaningful and useful at the same time, right? Functional. So that's what matters. When that happens, that's your sacred time. So it's when this salty water is Christed by John, IOHN, John the Baptist. He baptizes it. He baptizes Christ. This is when Christ is Christed or christened, and a fusion happens in the area where the vertebrae are fused, and something new is created. It's the Christ. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. And if you don't expend that energy, spiritual energy, sexual energy, if you don't expend it when it's in the root, in the sacrum, in the root, the base, and the sacral chakra, you save it. You save your energy. You save yourself. You're a virgin. So if you do this, just saving yourself, becoming baptized by the Holy Spirit, it rises. It rises to the solar plexus, and they talk about either in the sacrum, in the sacral plexus, or the solar plexus, this 2.5 day period. The reason that it can be both, not either or, both and, but something more, is that it doesn't really matter where it is. It's just that time period of saving. If you do that, then it rises even more, it ascends. So you go down. Baptism represents Christ's death on the cross and the harrowing of hell. It goes down, speaks to all the people in the underworld, frees them from the inner sun of the hollow earth, this solar plexus, the inner light below, within, yourself, your ego, frees everyone, tells the fallen angels sorry. But he comes out again. He raises on the 3rd day. He comes out of his tomb. The tomb is empty. There's 2 angels there. See the 3 Marys. Mary the Virgin, Mary Magdalene, and Mary the one who finds him with Mary Magdalene finds his tomb empty, and then the gardener appears to her. She doesn't recognize him, but then sees it's him. And we're all the gardener. Gardeners, we're all the trees, the tree. We breathe in and breathe out. But if you save yourself, you can ascend the solar plexus, and it goes up through the heart. True love emanates light from within. We're ascending chakras here. Like, this is Western esotericism has a lot to say. And we're in the heart now. We're shining light. Our inner light is now emanating light. And then we ascend even higher. We ascend higher, we emanate love from within, and then it ascends to our voice. We start to create a vibration of a word. Jesus is to God as the word is to thought. Probably as Mercury is to Thoth. But these vibrations that we generate, we create, we speak into existence. Speak your truth, live your truth, live in love, shine on, you crazy diamond. Shine from within, that crystal within, not the holographic crystal matrix grid, but the spiritual grid in your heart. Shining out your light, immortal, walls warping around you, protected, whole, one, law of one, vibrating alone together in love and light, invisible light, shining from your heart, because we are seated right now in the kingdom, and in our hearts is a flame burning, and the light from that fire, the flames inside our heart burning from the kingdom, is shining out into this world. We get to create this world around us. Eden Restored is we become creators. We are the artists. We are many more things. We are one. Speak your truth. If you do this, meditate. The third eye, focus. The third eye being the seed. Plant a good seed in your heart. Grow a tree. Be a healthy tree. Help everyone to breathe in spirit, life, and love, and ascend to be crucified.